Yes, that's Delta Goodrem, Born to Try. That was number 4 in 2003 here in Australia. So I am going to call a little bit of time out there in our 2003 showcase to talk bees and honey and how good they are for you and how good lots of other things are for you. And I'm talking, I believe, from the USA, Bogdan Chugunov. How are you there, Bogdan? Can you hear me? No, he can't because I'm on mute. We're talking about all things good with bees and honey, and I'm talking to Bogdan. How are you there this morning?
Yeah, still alive. Thank you.
That's good. Although it's is it afternoon, evening where you are? Where are you, Bogdan?
Yeah, this morning, that's so funny. Here in New York, it's 10:15 p.m.
Oh, right. So it's late evening there for you. What's the weather like in New York today?
Cold.
Oh, I won't tell you. It's 29 degrees here in Perth, Western Australia. Sunny, bright, blue skies.
Oh, gosh. Are we talking about Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Oh, Celsius, of course.
Yeah. Celsius. We live in Fahrenheit.
So what's 29? It's probably 29 is probably about 78 or 79 degrees or something. I'm not really sure. But, it's rather nice. So, Bogdan, you are the bee and honey guru. Tell me more.
Yeah, what exactly you want to hear from me about Manuka Honey?
Well, tell me all about it. We know Manuka Honey is from New Zealand, one of our close cousins and friends and sometimes enemies when we play rugby and cricket, but we actually do have a healthy respect for each other. But tell me more about Manuka Honey and how you came across it and, maybe some of your history.
Well, I discovered Manuka Honey around 2007. In 2005, I've been diagnosed with gastric cancer. And after 2 years of huge depression, I start to employ that old motto I learned from high school, never give up. And it was really hard time for Ukrainian immigrant to assimilate here in the United States. That's why I didn't have much choices as to survive. But because of my family history, I pretty much sure about my end because all my predecessors from motherline died from cancer. That's why I tried to postpone this last day as long as possible.
Quite understandable.
That's why, I try to live. That's why my theory is based on the statement that the best doctor is our own body. Of course, medical doctors and modern medicine gonna help you a lot, but nevertheless, even after surgery, a recovery period is completely on you and how you supply your body. I call it nuclear reaction. What kind of fuel you're gonna supply to that reactor, that's how long you're gonna live. That's why I collected all money available and start traveling around the globe, following a statistic with people, folks, countries where gastric cancer mortality rate is close to 0. That's actually how I came to New Zealand, and Manuka Honey been introduced to me. And I found that local people, Maori, have almost 0 mortality rate from gastric cancer.
Wow.
Just because they consume real Manuka Honey. Absolutely unconsciously, I think.
So since beating cancer in 2005, now that's 17 years ago, that's amazing. So since that time, you've dedicated your life to educating others about alternative medicine and I guess what you'd call functional foods from all around the world. What is it about Manuka honey that is so special in its properties?
I learned that Manuka honey carries two major active ingredients: dietary metylglyoxal, dehydroacetone, and leptospirine. I know it sounds very scientific, and for unprepared listeners, it sounds pretty much crazy. Nobody can even repeat such words, but nevertheless, all these active ingredients working to suppress convergent gastric polyps into cancerous tumors, based on my own experience.
So those chemicals you just mentioned, or the compounds you just mentioned, are natural. They come from the Manuka flower, is that right? And the bees bring them to the honey.
Yes, and a lot of question asking me what Manuka bush is, why it's so special, and I try to find the answer from New Zealand. I spoke to Dr. Mullen, unfortunately passed away, and he only guessed about a soil, a volcanic soil that actually created New Zealand, is beneficiaries for this property of Manuka honey. Because, here in United States, you can meet with Australian Manuka honey.
Mm-hmm.
You call it jellybush, but marketing advertise it as Australian Manuka honey with even more powerful MGO number. So MGO reads as metylglyoxal.
Right, okay.
And nobody understands why Australian Manuka honey carries much more metylglyoxal, but still MGO metylglyoxal is my major active ingredients that, in fact, if you go to Wikipedia, you're going to find that metylglyoxal is a poison. But in microscopic dosages, it really works as a medicine. And I do consume not only Manuka honey from New Zealand. I do consume bee propolis, I do consume shilajit, and I do consume Siberian cedar sap. That's actually, New Zealand was my first point to visit. I visited a lot of countries.
Yep.
I talked to many people, and I collected all this information about how people consciously and unconsciously stay healthy.
I think I have an explanation for you why the Australian jellybush honey, or the Australian version of Manuka honey, with the quantities of methylglyoxal that you talk about there, is because a long time ago, and it's a Dreamtime story, I believe, from our First Nations, that a long time ago the Australian bees heard that the New Zealand bees were bragging about how good their honey was and its medicinal properties and everything like that. And the Australian bees said, mate, we can't have that. We can't have the New Zealand's better at us than at rugby and cricket and honey making. And they put their heads down and said, right, we're going to make the best honey in the world. And there you go. So that's my silly story for the day.
Yes, but still not disclosed why Australian Manuka honey carries more MGO, more metylglyoxal milligram per kilo than New Zealand honey.
Because our bees are better. So I'm looking here on your website, Bogdan, and it says the main medical use for Manuka honey is on top of a wound. So it's got wonderful antiseptic and antibiotic properties, but there's also a whole host of other conditions that it's been found useful for. What are they?
Yes, indeed. Manuka honey could be used for topical application and for digestive application. I do a proponent for digestive application or indirect usage because a lot of people, because of lack of knowledge or lack of understanding, do consider honey as a topical treatment. Indeed, it works. It works against skin ulcer, but same time, a lot of people missing Manuka honey medicinal usage as digestive medicine. And I use it specifically to fight with cancer development as a prevention medicine. I do consume Manuka honey MGO 550 minimum daily. I try to be disciplined, and I do recommend people to do the same if they have sort of DNA like I have, inheritance from our predecessors. We cannot fix it. We cannot fight that. We can only support our body to withstand that. Once you got cancer, it's still in our blood. There is no treatment against that, unfortunately.
So, Bogdan, is the standard garden variety honey that sits on our supermarket shelf that might be from any range of brands and anywhere around the world, has that got any potential benefits, or should we specifically look for Manuka honey or one of the similar type honeys? The Australian
Trees,
version?
I think it's not going to be a discovery for Australian listener, but here in the United States, all grocery honey or supermarket honey is a heated honey. You cannot meet or buy any natural raw honey from a supermarket shelves. It's very rare. Manuka honey stay absolutely different. It stay separate. But again, unfortunately, big shark on such business try to ruin the entire concept of Manuka honey by providing cheap bulk supply of honey that carries Manuka honey on a label.
Right.
Unfortunately,
okay.
I am so small to fight with that. That's why I opened my YouTube channel, trying to educate people how to distinguish, how to see a separation between medicinal Manuka honey and grocery Manuka honey.
Right,
and
so there is that difference.
Yeah.
So,
unfortunately.
Tell me more about your YouTube channel, Manuka Honey Guru. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. That's my channel. I try to educate people as my English permits me, to tell people about my story and to tell people about how to use Manuka honey. How to use Manuka honey for medicinal purposes. Do not put Manuka honey in water. Do not mix Manuka honey with your smoothies. Do not mix it with tea or coffee. As soon as Manuka honey contact water, it becomes a disaccharide. Disaccharide, it's a white sugar you can buy from any supermarket for much cheaper prices. That's why Manuka honey must be consumed, I don't know, to put it in your mouth as Manuka honey and dissolve it.
So you just dip a spoon in the honey pot and straight in the mouth. Is that right?
Exactly, and rotate
Sounds
it
good
inside your mouth. Yes, and your saliva absorb methyl-glyoxal, leptospirin, and dihydroacetone immediately in your blood. That's what I call indirect treatment. It treats our body indirectly through the blood, not Like, if you have a wound and you put Manuka honey or anything on a top, that's people understand, oh, that's a healing method. Unfortunately, it's not. Our digestive polyps not going to be treated like this way. It should be treated regularly, discipline every day by consuming Manuka honey only this way, to let saliva to absorb all goodness by rotating 20, 30, 40 seconds. It depends on your saliva regime, but only this way.
Does Manuka honey taste any different to supermarket honey?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In what way?
In what way? That's a really funny question. It's a different.
Is it? I guess is it like different wines? It's hard to describe, but they just taste different, or they have different qualities on your palate, or is
exactly.
it right?
That's a good example. I would say it's a different women, different wine, different cars, different. It's a different. Manuka honey here in United States market never sell as raw Manuka honey, because Manuka honey raw crystallized in 6 months and became like a stone. That's why it's not good for commercial sale. That's why all Manuka honey that we have worldwide, including United States, is filtered. Why? Because excess of pollen must be removed. It used filters like 100/175 microns because pollen become a point of sugar crystallization. To avoid that, excess of pollen must be removed.
Right. So it's a source of nucleation on the sugar sugar molecules. Okay. You've got a whole bunch of information about Manuka honey and some of the other products that you actually sell on your website. Is that called bmagicusa.com?
Yes, that's right.
Tell us about that.
bmagicusa.com.
And that's B as in B-double-E, not just B magic as in a wizard. It's B as in buzz buzz, B magic, isn't it?
Absolutely. B as an insect. B.
And what sort of information can people find out on your website, bmagicusa.com, Bogdan?
Tris, here in United States, naturopathic medicine faced a lot of restrictions. Naturopathic doctor cannot say anything about healing with natural stuff. That's why it's prohibited to post any medicinal or healing information on the website. If I want to present our product on international expo shows, I should be very careful and do not provide any medicinal information on the flyers on a website, because website is under supervision.
Right.
That's why I can only provide neutral, general information about that. Same time, I can distribute absolutely for free articles been published in scientific magazines about clinical trial results, which are amazing.
Right.
All interested people can shoot me email, and absolutely for free, I'm going to supply them with such information. And people should put in gear their own mind and to read and understand if that product is good for them. People from Eastern Europe historically use honey as a medicine. Here in United States, honey considers for people as a sweetener first.
Mm-hmm.
Only probably 10 years ago, people start thinking, read, here learn, oh, there is honey as an alternative medicine? Really? And we live mostly in stereotypes. And these stereotypes sometimes good, sometimes not. It requires many, many years to change people's mind. Unfortunately, we live in such era where change mind should be made much faster. But humans are human. We are all mortals. We have a very limited time.
Yes, yeah, and it does take time. I can appreciate your frustration there, Bogdan. So, your if people want to find out a bit more and understand what you do and the products that you have available, so if they go to bemagicusa.com and have a look at your website or your YouTube channel again, it was remind me again.
Manuka Honey Guru.
Manuka Honey Guru. There you are.
Manuka Honey Guru. Yes.
If you search for that on YouTube, it will come up, and there'll be a whole bunch of information, and you can see Bogdan in his finest and can tell you all about it. So thank you for joining me this evening, Bogdan. That was that was great, and I hope all our listeners out there feel like a piece of toast with some honey on it. I know I do at the moment, but if we want Manuka honey to be good for us, we just pop the spoon straight in our mouth, don't we? Not on the toast.
Exactly. Talking about Manuka honey, yes.
So that sounds good. I think I might have to try some of that Manuka honey. I've certainly heard about it, but haven't tracked any down. So wonderful to have you on the show this morning or this evening, your time. Bogdan, thank you very much. And I've got a bit of a song to take you out here. And what else could it be but Honey, Honey? Thanks very much, mate. All the best.